all the way up to the vertex. There.
Got it.
So
Yeah,
that
I
I
do
mean
remember that when I was like stuck on a question, I made sure to put like that little star. That's why on some of the ones that I might have gotten wrong, I would have put like a star thing. That just means that I wasn't completely sure about the question when I was doing it. Or like one or like some part of the question I wasn't sure about when I was doing it, or like maybe I was just like rushing kind of. But I think this one, the increasing, decreasing, a little bit unsure about for this one, so I'd say to come back to it. But
right. So actually, I've got something from another student. Like I think would be really good to look at real quick here. Just to get this whole like increasing, decreasing thing down because it's going to come up again in this course. Like you're not done with it. It comes in other problems here. So let me just put this graph right in front of you, and I want you to tell me where it is, or write down where it is increasing and decreasing. And the x value here is 1.
so it's increasing from 1 to infinity,
Good.
and then it's decreasing from -infinity to 1.
Very good. So you do have that down. I don't know. Have we talked much about like test taking anxiety, or do you struggle with, any sort of like,
I think it's more the timing because this last time I took way too much time on the non-calculator portion, not leaving enough time to do like a lot of the calculator portion properly. But this time I kind of like I tried to finish the non-calculator portion at a decent time and try to get enough time to do the other portion and extra credit at the bottom of the PDF.
okay, so if you had more time, would you get a better
I would
score?
have probably thought it out a little bit more and then probably gotten it. But
Okay.
yeah, I think timing is the big thing because I was trying not to take too much time if didn't understand things, so I kind of like marked it and came back to wanted to come back. Should-
Okay. Um, Now this next thing for this problem here, number 3, let me go grab it. There's two things that that's not where I wanted that. Uh, there's two things that they can ask you. They can ask you for f of 0, which means that this means that x is 0, x equals 0, and you're trying to figure out the y. This is called the y-intercept. And then there's where f of x equals 0. This is where y equals 0, and you're trying to figure out x. This is the x-intercept. So you did this one on the left correctly, but that's the general idea here, is how to proceed. Now the one on the right is the more difficult one. You're saying the whole thing equal to 0, and then you're solving for. And so the mistake here that you made is to like expand this. You actually don't do that at all. You move the 8 over, you divide by -2, and then you take a square root. You probably know that now.
Yeah,
Uh,
now like with the lesson that we did today, it was making it a lot more clear. But yeah,
and so it's you made more work for yourself when you do this. So you take the square root of both sides, plus or minus here. I'm going to flip sides here. So it's plus or minus 2, x minus 1. And then you do have two solutions. You have x equals, because you're adding 1, 1 plus or minus 2. So 1 plus 2, 1 minus 2 is 3, minus 1, like that.
yeah.
So any questions on that before we move on to another problem?
I don't think so. I think now I get it after what we did today, which was square. I think it was square roots. Yeah, solving by square root and completing the square is what we did today. So that kind of made it a little more clear from what we did today, we need to do here.
Right. So there's two reasons you complete the square. The one is to write it in vertex form, and the other is to solve for the x-intercepts or the solutions more generally in complex form. So problem four here, I know you got some mistakes here in five. So like your teacher's just giving you different forms and they're just it's like you have to do the same stuff but know how to do it in the different forms. Uh, would you like us to review either of those?
Um, yeah, maybe number number four. I remember not being quite sure about when I was doing it, so that one maybe one I fell over.
Yeah, you got your graph isn't very good. It's an absolute value again instead of a quadratic. That's very problematic. Now I see. I attribute that more to just the stress of tests. Um, but you know, these are also very compact problems. You're not given a lot of like room to work. So if you're kind of a big writer, handwriter like me, you might consider getting some extra paper to work things out on. Um, all right, the vertex. There's a couple of ways to the vertex. You could expand this, or you could recognize that the vertex is always midway between the x-intercepts. It's the midpoint of the x-intercepts. Which way do you think you would like to do it?
Uh, I think what I tried to do here is find the sorry, here,
To me, it looks like you tried to foil this, which is good.
yeah,
It's more work. I mean, like it does work, it's just more work. We can do that. So let's just do that. This foils into x squared minus 2x minus 8, and then you're going to take negative 1/2 of each of those,
yeah,
negative 1/2 x squared plus x plus 4. So you have to get all of those right. Then the
right,
x coordinate of your vertex is minus b over 2a. B is -1, or b is 1, but you're negating it. 2 times negative 1/2 is -1, which ends up being 1. Then you have to put that back in to this right here. Now, you'll learn this the more you do math, but whenever you put 1 into something like this, it's just the coefficients. It becomes -1/2 plus 1 plus 4, which is 5, plus -1/2 is 4.5 or 9 over
yeah.
2.
I think the first time that I did it, for some reason, I got x equals 4. But then I went back afterwards and kind of fixed it, and I got x equals 1, but still for the vertex. Once I plugged in even the 1, I got 1,3. So it must have been like a calculation error, or I have not plugged in the right number or something like that. Okay. And
Um,
then for the range and everything, that
yeah,
kind of follows
the range follows from this. It's the y coordinate of the vertex. It's either your range is either 9/2 to infinity if it opens up, or it's minus infinity to 9/2 if it opens down. And you can tell by the leading coefficient that it opens down. Um, so, and this bracket thing is important too. It includes the value.
it.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah. Wait, so oh, I might have confused the range for the bracket and the parentheses. I might have confused it with range, because in range or not in with the range, with increasing or decreasing it, something like
Ooh,
that.
right.
Because In
And
those,
X
you
equals,
don't have any brackets, but in
that's right.
range,
That's
you
right.
have that bracket.
Increasing and decreasing are what are called open intervals. And they always are parentheses.
Okay. I think we should go for number 15 as well, because the
Which one?
x-intercepts were completely wrong. Yeah.
Which one? Number five?
Number 15, or yeah, number 5. Sorry, now I said
Okay.
number 5.
Yeah. All right. So the x-intercepts are where you set the function equal to 0, which it looks like you kind of did that. You at least did the positive case, but your goal here is to isolate the absolute value. So you're going to add 4 to both sides. You're going to eliminate the coefficient in front of the absolute value by multiplying by the reciprocal. 5 over 2, 5 over 2. So those cancel. And then you'll see me do this quite a bit where I move this over here, flip side. So it's absolute value x plus 5. This becomes 10. 10. So what I'm seeing is that you like try to do just the positive case, which doesn't really work. You have to then split this into the two cases. There's positive case, x plus 5 equals 10, and x plus 5 equals minus 10. And then you solve each of these.
God,
So x is 5,
x is minus.
negative 15.
Oh, then that's how you get the 5 almost here on
Yeah,
negative
I mean,
15
you
comma.
could maybe go to your instructor and say something like, I can't graph these on that graph. Like, I mean, yeah, it's not, you can graph one of them, but not the other. I mean, I don't know if that matters, but it's like you really weren't given a fair graph here to look at. So, but and then, that's the x-intercept, the y-intercept. Not sure why you didn't get that right. Looks like you had a sign error there. That's why it's negative
Yeah,
2.
because the correct answer was
Okay.
-2, but I put 2.
This one, there's a lot of overlap between this and the quadratics in terms of like domain and range. The range is like this here, where again it either opens up and it's this one, or it opens down and this one. Um, I don't know if you're more of a visual person, but like you said, when you find the vertex, it leads to a lot of other stuff. Like in a flow chart, and you do this in engineering, the vertex leads to the range. It also leads you to increasing or decreasing because you need that. This one, you need to know the leading coefficient to know whether it opens up or down. So you can kind of build these flow charts for the class here. That'll help you determine, what you need or where you can go from each spot. If that helps, we can do more of that.
Yeah, yeah, so then that's how I got the range wrong, because then, yeah, and then, so then the vertex, yeah, wait, actually, wouldn't,
Vertex also leads you to the axis of
oh,
symmetry.
yeah, I think I put -5, minus, well, actually, wouldn't it be -5, -4 for the vertex?
It is, yeah. Yep. That looks correct to me. It looks like you might have added a negative later on. No. This isn't quite like one of the problems we were doing. We were always factoring out a number inside the absolute value, which you didn't have to do here. What else? What else can we look at on this?
Mm, Gonna look at number 6.
Number 6. You just lost a point though for the leading coefficient.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering what
So
a.
let me look at your
Uh,
work here because that's right. You put 15 in there plus 22, 64 equals 40A 4A divided by 4A is 16. Oh, there's the issue. So let me, oh, that's right. Minus 42. Oh, you lost a sign. That's where it would happen. Okay, sorry. Sometimes it just takes a while to figure out. Um, so you have negative 42 right here, but then you lose it. You didn't bring it down. So this should have been negative 20 divided by 4, which makes it negative 5. But to me,
like
it just
it's
looks like you
negative
didn't
20,
write,
so
you didn't bring the negative.
negative.
Like you had
Yeah,
it here and then you lost it.
yeah, then yeah, 22, then you would get negative 20. Yeah, and now it's simplified to, oh God, and that's where they put the negative 5 in there for the coefficients. Uh, uh, and then for number 7, you can go over that one as well, because she did mention that he used to do, she did it through factored form. It's
Yeah.
not
And
really
are you
like,
wondering, so they both should work. Like it's not
yeah,
a,
but yeah,
um,
it's easier to
the, pro
factor.
the problem is that, let's say this, this is not, it's a very deceptive problem because the table gives the impression that this is the vertex. And you might
Yeah, I
wonder,
think
well,
that's what I,
why isn't
yeah,
it the vertex? Well, I've said this a few times. The vertex is always the midpoint between the two x-intercepts. So the first x-intercept is minus 12. The second one is 36. The average of each of the midpoint is 12. So this is actually just another point.
yeah, that's what she explained. That's just another point, and then the one above it would be P, and the one above it would be Q because they're both
Yeah.
x-intercepts.
So if this were 12 comma negative 360, you would have been good to do what you did. Now, I kind of argue this is like a very, I mean, I'm kind of like you. Might have just done this, not really thought much about it. So you can't do it this way. I mean, like, it's just, I hate saying it this way. It's completely wrong when you do it the way you did because it's not the vertex. Like, it just is, you try to, I mean, it's trying to make, chicken noodle soup with hamburger meat or something. It's like completely wrong. Like, you just can't do it. Um, so the factored form, like you said, it's x minus p, x minus q, a, and then you have g of x here. So you have enough to establish the two intercepts. Minus 36, x minus a minus 12. You are subtracting them. So this becomes x minus 36, x plus 12. And then you use the given point. So 6 comma minus 360, you'd solve for A. Minus 360 equals A. 6 minus 36, 6 plus 12. So that's minus 30, 18, A minus 360 like that. So this is, and you're not using calculators or you are this part of the course?
This portion is non-calculated. That's why I was doing all the calculations at the
Yes, this is a
side.
little bit hard. Like I would divide by minus 30 first, because then you get a decent number here. You get 12 equals A times 18. You don't have to multiply and then divide. I know that's like you're used to that, but you can divide as you want. Divide by 18. So A ends up equaling 2/3 like that.
Also, I want to mention something with about like the timing of it. Um, I did end up, however, so she gave us like the entire class period uh to finish the test. So I used about like that's the thing that I used about like 20 or 30 minutes on the non-calculator portion alone. So I still did spend a lot of time on the non-calculator portion, kind of just wanted to make sure they didn't make any mistakes, but I think that kind of made it a little bit harder for like the calculator portion and the other portions because I spent a lot of time on the non-calculator one. So yeah, I think timing might be one thing to work on.
Yeah. Now, are you noticing, are there students that are finishing the test in enough time and they're getting good grades, or do you feel like everyone
Yeah,
is in the same position you're in where they need more time?
there are some kids that are able to finish like within the given time. I finished like the non-calculator portion within like a reasonable time, like maybe like maximum like 15 at a time, but
Uh,
kind of spacing out a
And
little bit.
they are doing, they're getting, good grades, solid grades on these. I mean, that's, you can finish fast and be wrong. But,
Yeah, I would
don't
say
want,
so.
okay.
I don't always know the exact grade, but I would say so, yeah.
And how much total time are you given for something like this?
For a quiz, which is like over like a couple lessons, maybe like half a period, or maybe like 15 minutes for like a quiz, where it's only over a couple lessons, like the transformations quiz or the lessons quiz. But if it's a chapter test like this one was, then it's usually the full period.
Which is how many minutes? 50,
That would
70?
be usually it's on a regular day, which is about like maybe I think it's an hour or something like that.
Okay.
I'm not sure the exact time, but
I mean, there's a lot here. Like I don't know. Like some teachers use a metric where it's like they should be able to do it in half the time it takes the students. I really don't know. Not that that helps, but I mean, I'm trying to gauge whether this is even reasonable or not. There's a lot here. I mean, it's really kind of consuming, but uh, and college can be like this. So you can get classes that are like that in college. So you are getting the experience of like, what do I do in these situations? Like, you don't have enough time to finish the test. But they're also in college where you do. Um, is there a reason you did not answer question 2 on the dinosaur? It's not enough time.
um, so that was part of the extra credit portion.
Oh, that's right. That's what I see
Yeah, where
that
we
now.
submitted like
Okay,
the first two parts of it, and then the extra credit portion was optional. But
I see. Yeah,
I
I get it.
suspected that there would be at least a couple, maybe one or two that would get wrong on the regular part of the tests. So I did decide to do two of them because the second one I kind of skipped around it because I still wasn't a little bit sure on the second one, so I just skipped around it and then went to the last one. Uh,
Okay.
but yes.
All right.
Um,
Well, we're getting kind of away from helping you out here. Is there some other questions you'd like us to look at? We got some time left here. I don't want to. I know it's you got to kind of get through the like what's happened, talk it out. But like we could go through a few more questions or some like it.
all
What would
right.
be?
So, I'm not really sure how to show B and C for number 10. Is it the one that says which equations below have a minimum y value?
So I think a little bit here is an experience. You're so used to only selecting one answer. And maybe that played into it as you're like, ah. Now, for it to have a minimum y value, this is not worded well, by the way. So you could actually go and argue it to your instructor. It what the instructor wanted you to infer from this is that it's either a absolute value opening up or a quadratic opening up because these have a minimum. And let's just say maybe there's another version of the test that asked about a maximum. If it opens down, it has a max. If the parabola opens down, it has
Yeah,
a
because the negative would mean that it opens down, wouldn't
right.
so that would have been the maximum.
Yeah, so we're looking for the two that open up. That's all dictated by the leading coefficient. Right. Hopefully that answers that.
Yeah, I think that kind of clarifies it a bit because then yeah, it shows the maximum, not the minimum of it. Um, Another
What
one
else? What
might
else
be
here?
number 6 of this, the second part of it, the one that we're on right now, the second part. Or
All right.
actually, I don't think we're on the second part yet. The second part is page 4 of the
Yeah.
PDF. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that number 6. Yeah, this one was the calculator portion.
Let's search for the Fabians.
Yeah, no, a little bit of the word might not be visible.
All right. It looks like for every plus of dx, 12 minus. Okay. Did you write? No, that's not gonna snip. I'm trying to,
Yeah.
did you, in the middle box, did you write let me see if I can get this snipped in here. Because this is correct. Did you write this during the test?
Um, which box again? The middle top one or
Yeah, middle top.
the middle top one? I believe I did. The middle top one I did.
So you did write this during this because this is perfect. This is the quantity
Yeah,
and this is the price. And this is exactly what you need. One goes up, one goes down. And that's what
yeah,
you have here. This is exactly right.
yeah. I think the problem came with the same blocks, but at the bottom, the middle bottom one,
Right.
because
Now,
yeah, yeah.
you could graph this. Like if you're in a calculator, you could go right to your calculator and graph this, boom, and get the vertex. I don't think we did that. I think we did this by hand by foiling. How did you do this on the test? You remember?
Um, on the test for solving for it, I do remember when we went over a review. If you did find both of the x's by equating them to 0, and then finding the average of those two, or in other words, p plus q divided by 2. First, you found like p and then q, and then add them together divided by 2. So that's what I did, and ended up after all that, ending up with 0.2. Um, and then
Mm,
after
that
that,
doesn't seem, yeah, that doesn't seem right to me. I mean, just like based on what we're doing here, like I don't think you've got the right vertex. So um it kind of looks like you did graph. Did you graph?
for this one,
No, I'm trying. It's sorry. It's like
yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah,
ask you what you did. It's like
yeah,
when
I
you
think I might have, but
okay. So did you?
the
But here's
calculator,
another
yeah.
another important question: is did you graph it by like did you just put this into the calculator, which you can. Like you don't have to FOIL it to graph. You can just put that in, let the calculator do it.
Mhm.
So the reason I'm asking is because like look, I just quickly graphed in Desmos. So I know that that's not what you did. You don't have Desmos, but it helps to kind of get a gauge of
Yep.
what's going on here. So the vertex is at 22, which I know, which tells me there's some sort of issue with what you did in yours. So we could FOIL, we could do a lot of things.
Yeah, I can probably well and see if um, if you were to well, all right, let me well. All right, I got 12x squared plus 550x plus 2400 once I
Yeah, but
boiled
just
it.
keep in mind you don't have to boil it. You can just put that in the calculator like that. Like it will graph this even on your TI 83, 84. That's my point. Is like you
Yeah, you can
sometimes we
save
make more
time.
work. Like I'm
Yeah,
noticing that a little bit in your tests is that, and it's probably because you're just not sure, but you're doing some things that are adding time to your test like this. Like you don't have
yeah,
to
especially
multiply
making it
this
that much
to,
time.
and maybe you didn't know, but maybe nobody told you. Like I
Yeah.
didn't tell you, so I don't know how you would know. But yeah, I mean it's minus 12.5 x squared plus 550 x plus 2400.
But
Anything else for us to look at on your test here? Quickly.
um, uh, this one multiple choice question. If you scroll up a little bit, it's right below where it says multiple choice, circle the best answer.
Yep.
Um, it's number two right there, the one that says a rocket is shot straight up under the conditions below. And that one didn't really make sense.
Jeez. You're really supposed to write the equation for each of these and graph them, unless you guys had a discussion in class on this. So, like, the idea here is that there's a general equation here, which is the height as a function of time is the initial height plus the initial velocity times time plus the acceleration times time squared. Now, in your class, the acceleration due to gravity is, sorry, this is 1/2, is 32 feet per second squared, negative. So you're supposed to write an equation for each of these. For A, the equation is 17 plus 32t minus 16t squared. The reason
So
it's
were you,
minus 16, what?
so were you supposed to find the highest vertex of each of the
Yes,
equations?
yes. Now, the shortcut though is, and I actually kind of like this problem now that I understand what they're trying to do, is it's minus, you have to, but really you gotta find the vertex, and it's time consuming, but maybe there's something that helps here. Probably, you want the one that's high as high as possible off the ground. And then somehow you're supposed to know that like it's better to have a higher velocity. So like it's down to B and C. Because when it's shot from the ground, that's 0 plus 48t minus 16t squared. But yeah, you need to find the vertex of all these,
Uh,
which is a lot of work.
yeah,
Uh,
I think I didn't quite get what they were asking for this question then, but now I kind of get they were asking for
yeah,
the vertex and
yeah,
finding out which one had the highest vertex or the
right,
highest y value for the vertex.
right. All right, we are out of time for